What you're looking at here is the cover of my 2020 inspiration journal. In here I am planning to keep ideas for my videos, ideas for technique videos, ideas for art journal pages, ideas if I do craft fairs, ideas for canvases. This is where I'm going to collect it all. Now, I've taken it apart because I just gave my cover a coat of varnish, and people have been asking. This is what I use. I use Minwax polyacrylic. Now, up until this point, I've always used clear gloss. This is satin. I don't notice much of a difference between the satin and the gloss, maybe just a little bit less glossy. There is a matte finish. I hear tell of it. I have not been able to source it out. It wasn't at the store where I was looking. So I gave that a couple coats, and I absolutely love using it. I put this on canvases, I'm putting it on the covers. Typically I don't do my art journal pages, but this keeps it nice and gives it a nice feel to it. So I have the journal apart. Now what I want in here is different sections. And if you look, it's just, a lot of blank papers. There's no dividers, there's nothing separating them. And in the past, when I wrote down my ideas, it just became a whole hodgepodge of whatever. And while it was all maybe in the book or in this book and another book and a piece of scrap paper, and then I put post-it notes to kind of make little dividers. I thought, you know what, I want some dividers made on here. And I gave you a sneak peek of the one divider that I created, with the promise that I will come back and do a tutorial showing you how I did this. I'm going to do it the way I'm going for something that's really easy, that uses the stash that I have and the supplies that I have on hand. Now I have a lot of gel prints. So I went through my stash and I pulled out all sorts of gel prints, and I wanted to make a lot of these dividers. This is a fairly thick one, and I thought, okay, maybe I need more dividers and that'll help me stay a little more organized. So I brainstormed about how many dividers I need, how many sections I need. So we're going to do some colors. So I pulled the colors that I like. And I like the idea of using something that I've already created on here. So we have all of these, and I'm picking different colors, different color schemes. There we already have one that's partially done. Then what I did is I went onto Pinterest and I searched for quotes about that go with the my word of the year challenge. I could have had creativity quotes. You can pick whatever you want. Happiness quotes, any kind of quotes. I've picked a theme. You don't have to. So I already put one on here, and I showed you if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And right here, be the girl who decided to go for it. Now the fonts that I have here are ones that I downloaded from defont.com. I have a laser printer. So what my plan is to put the gel print that is on a complete sheet through my printer and print the quote right on it. So you're going to get something like this. And I've picked fonts that are a little bolder, a little darker, that are going to show up. I also picked gel prints that I think the black is going to show up on. So once I picked the quote, I needed to decide what the size font is. And for me, trial and error seems to be the way I go. So I printed it out, and I come back and I'm, okay, that's too big, and that will fit. So there we go. But I'm always going to print off a trial, and I do both sides. Now these I don't throw out because these are perfectly good to use on an art journal page somewhere down the line. And I have a whole, kind of embarrassed to show you, but I have a whole bin of quotes that I haven't used, and when I'm doing an art journal page, sometimes this is where I go to look for it, and I force myself to use it. So we're going to print on this one. So now I've gone on to Word, I've sized it, and I'm going to put this in my laser printer. Now, the reason I'm going to recommend a laser printer is I'm going to glue this onto this page with gel medium or matte medium, and I don't want to reactivate it or smudge it. And I know with a laser printer, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to put this in the printer and hit print, and I'll show you what we come up with. Okay, so there you have it. So I've typed out the quote, I've mixed and matched the fonts. Now the font up here is called, because people will be asking, Modern Love Caps. And the script font that I've combined it with is called Beyond Infinity. So I've played with size. I've printed off a trial sheet. It's just on the back of a discarded sheet. I put my papers through. And again, I will keep this in my bin of sentiments. I might use it as it is, but I might use just part of the word. I might cut from many of them and do kind of a hodgepodge. So now I'm going to take my gel print or something I've stenciled or collage sheet in here. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put this whole sheet into my printer tray. And my printer, I put it face up. It prints on the front side. You're going to have to figure out how that works with your printer. Now, because this has paint on it, and there is a possibility that, you know, some of it might rub off in the printer and it comes out, you have to make a decision if this is something that you're willing to risk clogging your printer up. Only you can make that estimation. So I'm going to put this through the printer and I'll be back. Okay, so there we have it. I love it. It's showing up the bold fonts that we've chosen are working really well. So now I'm just going to position this to make sure that I get all my text on here. And, you know, I want it fairly straight because of the pattern that's on here. Sometimes it doesn't matter so much. This one does, so it's going to take a little bit of squeezing around. I'm going to just fold that, put that over, do my lazy man's cutting. You could also just gel print right onto these pages. I've painted the sides kind of a matching color. Now I like this better than just this little one, so I'm going to take a little bit off of this side. And then the rest I'm going to take off of the other side. And now I'm just going to flip it and cut off the excess. Flip it. So that one is ready to be glued. That one's ready to be glued. I'm going to get some more to this stage and then we'll be back to take this to the next step. Now I'm just going to use some matte medium. Now, if you'd used a laser or a jet printer, you do not want to put this on top, the matte medium on top, because it will reactivate. You can also glue this with a glue stick if you find you have success with that. Very gently. And then I'm going to come in with a heat tool. Now this paper isn't super thick, so you have to gauge that. Gel medium you might find works better for you. I think I'm going to try the next one. I might try gel medium. But it just makes me happy to see my stenciling, you know, my word pick, my phrase on here. Now if you have the gel, okay, so I did two different ones. I did this one, I would use the liquid matte medium, and this one I use the gel. And I found that the gel worked better. And so I'm just less warping and less wrinkles, and so that's what we're going to do now that we've tried both of them. So what I've done, and I'm just using matte gel, I'm putting a good coat of it on the paper. And then I'm just going to take the gel print or collage paper or what have you. Oops, and I'm going to make make sure I get to the end. And I just used my key card, old gift card, to spread it. And that got it all the bubbles out, all the wrinkles out, pushed the excess to the side. Now, it does get quite damp, and again, we're not using, this is not mixed media paper, so you need to dry it. So I am taking time in between to dry it, and I dry it on both sides, and as you can see here, it got fairly flat. So that is what I am going to do with the rest of the dividers, and I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so I have 2, 4, 6, 8 dividers, 4 different basic color patterns. They're glued on. Once I glued them on and dried it, I just took my scissors and trimmed them up, and if there was any places that it didn't stick, I just stuck some more gel medium in there and got them done. But the gel. So now I just want to finish this up a little bit. And I decided that I'm going to edge all of them with black. So I'm just going to put some black out on my desk, and I'm going to use a makeup sponge. And I don't want it to look too wet. I don't, even if I have to go back twice, that is preferable to getting too much globbed on there. And I'm just going to edge. So if it doesn't quite go to the edge, when you glue it down, this will cover that up. Alternatively, you can pick the same color, but since I have all different colors and the font, the print is all in black and bold, I figured that the black would look fairly good on all of them. This is one that I did with the matte, the liquid medium. So, it's a little bit of warping, but once it's completely dry and I kind of wibble it around, I think it will be just perfectly fine for this. And I'm loving this because I've got the quotes that mean something to me. I've got some of my gel prints that I love, different things that I've created. So it's all me. Now you could take this, do the same thing and just frame it, and you have your inspirational quotes. It doesn't have to necessarily be going into a journal like I'm doing. Now we talked about, you can put the gel print and just print off the font, the message, and glue that on. You can also stamp the message onto it with, letter stamps, or you could stencil. All of those are possibilities. So use the technique that you can do. So I'm going to go around these all in black. Now, I'm just tempted to do some splatters, just to personalize this a little bit more. So in here I have just black paint that I've thinned, and I have it at the ready for splattering. Since I do a lot of And I mean, that's again your personal choice. I did tend to get into some bigger fonts, but I like that. So I'm going to continue splattering and edging, and then we'll be back with, I think, the finished product. So when you're putting it back together, the covers both go on last. If you look in here, we have this part is on the inside against the last page, so that can't come off. So I put them on you know, either take a picture before you take yours apart or have another one so you can know how it all goes together. So that's going to go against that, okay? So I'm just come on. You don't want to pull it too far apart, but you just sometimes it's easier if you do less pages. Trying to do too many can cause yourself some grief. Keeping an eye on where the top of the paper is. Sometimes it goes perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. There we go. I am loving, loving, loving how this is looking. Okay, this one had a few more papers, so we're not even going to attempt doing all of them. There we go. Be careful with your cover. You do not want to damage it. There we go. Squeeze. I guess I should try and see if that actually worked.